We're going to bring on our speaker tonight, someone that's no stranger to some of us, but to some she is. But she's an international face, an international voice. She is on the rise to be empowered for 2020, and she's empowering other women. She is a go-getter. She's a motivator and encourager. And she's got something awesome for us tonight. That's why I'm playing my instrumental game time music, because she's a go-getter and she is in the game to win it. So I want you guys to invite and to share this. Hi, Denise, how are you? I want you all to share this, and I want you guys to get ready for the one and only Faith Queen Wiki.
Yes, thank you very much for such an introduction. I'm going to dive into this, and I definitely like to say thank you to Sister Time and definitely Stringfellow. We've been working together, and Shamika. I'd like to say thank you all for inviting me here on this evening. So I'm not going to take up much of your time. I know some of you have better things you think you'd rather be doing, but I think that you want to be here because this is going to be very, very critical in your wealth creation, in your legacy. So with that said, I'm going to share my screen so we can get this party started. Let me know if you guys can see the screen here. Can we see it? Yes, yes. Well, first of all, we're going to talk about saving and investing. And what you're going to hear here is truly unorthodox. It's not going to be your typical savings in the bank, investing in stocks and bonds, or anything of the sort. It's going to be things that people are doing in the real life, and I'm going to show you some of the myths of what we have out there. So I'm going to talk about giving an introduction to some of the options that you should consider in order to create a financial legacy. We're not talking about getting a job and saving up money. We're talking about creating a financial legacy, which many of us are not a part of. So let's get started here. My name is Faith Sloan, affectionately known as Queen Wiki in the social media circles internationally. So the first thing I want to talk about is the mindset, because that's critical. If we don't have the right mindset, we won't be able to do jack. See, there's a poor and middle class mindset, and there's a financially independent and rich mindset. Let's talk about the poor and the middle class, and I'm going to quickly go through these points, and you're going to understand what I'm talking about. And if you identify, because I have, it's okay. They believe that life happens to them. They feel a lot of times victimized, whereas the financially independent and rich, they believe I create my life. I accept that full responsibility. And of course, we all know nothing can be done without God. That goes without saying. Now, they play the money game not to lose. See, the rich people, they play the money game to win. We don't hedge our bets and say, well, I'm going to hedge it just in case I lose. That's not the right mindset. You're going to play to win, period. They want to be rich, the poor and middle class, see, and the financially independent and rich are committed to being rich, right? See, over on the poor side, they think small things of limitation. They think about limitations, what's going to block me, all of these barriers, wishing and hoping, whereas on the other side of the fence, they simply think big. They think possibilities unknown to many, and they dream a heck of a lot, and they act. Now, we have folks who focus on obstacles all the time, whereas the wealthy focus on opportunities. See, the poor and middle class are always complaining about the rich, and we resent them, and just because they're successful. And we're seeing a lot of that with the passing away of Kobe Bryant. Oh, you should see the stuff in Twitter. You should see the stuff that are going on. The guy just died, and all of these people are hating on him because of his money and what he did with it. But I say you can tell who's the poor and the middle class, because the financially independent and the rich, they're going to focus on their opportunities as well as admire other rich and successful people, support them. And so instead of associating with negative, unsuccessful people, you got to change your crowd. You've got to change the people you hang around with. There's a saying, it says, you are kind of like an equivalent to the 6 people that you hang around with the most. Check who you're hanging around with. If they're broke as a joke, chronically complaining, then odds are you are too. Get away from those folks. I tell you, man, they will poison you. They think negatively when you talk about selling and promoting. But nonetheless, when they buy Michael Jordan's gym shoes, or when it's Black Friday and they go and they stand outside in the cold and they get those iPhones, you know, and they have the Hilfiger tags on the outside of their clothes, they have no problem with picking up the phone and say, girl, I just got this Hilfiger, I got this Gucci, no problem. But when it comes to them doing the same thing to promote themselves, to promote their products and their value, they're quiet. You don't even know they're in business and they're your next door neighbor. See, they believe they are smaller than their problem. They believe they are poor receivers. They are. They choose to get paid based on time. I'm going to talk about that. And they think either or. Whereas you look at the financially independent and the rich, they are bigger than their problems. See, there's only solutions and there is no problem. They are excellent receivers. They choose to get paid based on the results, and they think both, not either or. See, the poor and middle class, they focus on their working instant gratification. I got to get that hair weave. I said, well, how about this business? How about this investment? Well, no, I've got to get the hair weave, got to get my nails. That's $400, got to get my feet. And you're broke as a joke trying to get a drink at the bar, hoping a guy will give you a drink. See, get your own drink. You know, stop working on income, instant gratification. We're going to focus on net worth. What is our value in terms of finance? We're going to postpone that gratification, because you know what? If you do what's on the right side, you're going to be able to buy 50 hair weaves. You know, you're going to be able to buy your own drink. You're going to be able to mingle and wine and dine with the best. But you got to postpone something, right? They mismanage their money. We all do. We buy liabilities, bling, bling, and all of that. And we buy these houses when we win the lottery. What do? We buy mama house, daddy house, everybody cars, all this liability, not recognizing we're going to have expenses that's going to be related to those liabilities. And then what happens at the end game, and we've seen it time and time again, what happened is go broke. Now you got to sell your houses at fire sale prices. Got to take your bling bling, go pawn it, and now you're broken than what you ever were. Watch that. Manage your money. See, the financially rich and financially independent and rich, they manage their money well. It took them some time. They were in your situation. They buy assets. See, the poor folks, you know, we let fear stop us. We're scared. We're afraid. And quite frankly, the poor and middle class should have the least amount to be afraid of, right? What's the loss? See, they think they already know it all too. We already seen that. See, what financially independent and rich people do, I have a lot of fear. It's okay. We all do. But see, we act in spite of that fear. See, and we're constantly learning. We're constantly doing things, traveling, getting to know the world. So now let's talk about what we've got here. Let's talk about the meat. If you ain't reading, you'll never be a leader. If you ain't reading, you'll never learn anything, and you're going to be in the same situation. I don't care if you got audio books or whatever. Read a book or a couple of chapters every single day. Here are some of the great books that I've read. Napoleon Hill. Everyone should read this. I know all of you guys are reading your Bible. I don't even have to say that. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, one of the best. Chris Hogan, Everyday Millionaires. He has another book as well. I say, guys, get these books. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm going to talk a lot about Robert Kiyosaki. Tony Robbins, books galore. He talks about money and the mastering the game. You know, really it's mastering your mind, mastering your head. So you've got to read, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's talk about savings plan. See, this is what, you know, you got these guys and they're always talking about saving. No rich people save their money in the bank. None of them. And I'm going to tell you why. One of the things that Warren Buffett says, he says, you buy things you do not need. Soon you will have to sell things you need. On savings, do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. His definition of saving is not the same as yours. Let me get into that. On taking risks, never test the depth of the river with both feet. Now, I kind of disagree on that. See, I'm a diver. I'm a high-risk person. So you need to determine your risk quotient. I'm very risky. I'll go in at a foot and a half. Okay, not both. Okay, on investment, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And on expectations, honesty is the very expensive gift. Do not expect it from cheap people. Now, Albert Parker, this is what he said. No one becomes rich by investing on savings account. Risk is the down payment on success. You've got to be able to take a risk, okay? No one ever got rich working a 9 to 5. So let's jam on this baby here, okay? We're going to get into the meat of this. I'm going to first show you the inflation rate so you can get a general idea of what you're getting in your bank account. Remember, many of you guys are getting, what, 1% a year on your bank account. Imagine this, January 2019, 1.6% inflation. What does that mean? In January, you lost 60 cents on every freaking investment, right? So 1.5%. Let's go all the way to where we are now. 1.8% inflation October 2019, and you're getting 1% a year. Come on now. Look at this, 2.1%. Then it's all the way up here. Let me move these over. All the way up to 2.3%. People are telling me that the economy is better. I don't know what you guys are looking at, but I'm looking at the rate of inflation. And if your bank account is getting 1% a year, you're losing money every single year. As a matter of fact, you guys know when you go shopping, we used to have big carts of groceries for $100. Now you got a plastic bag. That's because of inflation. See, in order to be successful, you have to understand money, and you've got to understand the economics. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play this video, and this is Kiyosaki talking about why you shouldn't save your money in the banks. And this is really, it's about 10 minutes, but I'm going to do some fast forwarding here. Oh gosh, I think, I'm going to stop sharing. I got to come back in so I can tell it to share the right audio. So let me get out of here very quickly. Stop my share. I'm getting ready to come right back in, share that baby again. I'm going to share it with the computer sound. Boom. Here, let me know if you don't hear it. Okay.
Robert Kiyosaki always says that the big mistake is so many people believe it's essential to save. That's ridiculous, Kiyosaki explains, and the reason that's ridiculous is that what happened in 1971 is crucial. In 1971, the US dollar stopped being money. In 1971, the US dollar became a currency. And what that meant is Richard Nixon in 1971 took us off the gold standard. That's like giving an alcoholic free rein to the bar, or it's like giving somebody who can't control their spending unlimited credit cards. What's happening is all the savers today are losers. The problem with 1971 is that the federal government keeps printing money. The value of your money keeps going down. If you notice, as the value of the dollar goes down, prices go up. They call this inflation. But really what it is the dollar's value coming down. So savers are getting wiped out today. To save money, that is not the new rule, that's an old rule. A very big problem for most people is to stop using the word save and use the word hedge. You've got to hedge your money. Hedge against losses. That's why this idea that you're going to tell people you need to save money, that's really an obsolete idea. Because the concept went obsolete in 1971, the US dollar in the last few years has lost almost 80% of his purchasing power. This has happened throughout history. It happened thousands of years ago with the Romans, with the Greeks, with the Germans, with the English, the Japanese, and the Chinese. Every time they've made money into a currency, something you could print at unlimited. Every time that has happened, the currency has gone to its true value, which is zero. I am afraid as this economic volatility continues, the savers who will operate by the old rules of money are just going to get wiped out because the purchasing power of their dollar is going to go down. You can't keep up with the banks printing money. That's the old rule of money, is saving money. And the new rule is a hedge. The reason 1971 is such a critical time was because the US Federal Reserve became the bank to the world. They could print as much money as they wanted. Never in the history of the world has anybody been allowed to print money for the rest of the world. Every time people have done this, chaos has broken out. And that's why there's chaos in the world today. In 1913, when the US Federal Reserve Bank was created, they were basically allowed to print money for the world. Every time that has happened throughout history, a despot has arrived. For example, in 1933, a man named Adolf Hitler rose to power when the Weimar Republic was allowed to print as much money as it wanted to do. And when Russia's currency broke down, a man named Lenin rose to power. When the Chinese economy broke down, Mao Zedong rose. Today we're at that critical point right now. One of the causes of it was in 1933. This thing called the US Federal Reserve was created. They've done a pretty good job of making the rich richer, unfortunately, the poor getting poorer. So that's why when I talk to people, I really need them to understand the new rules of money, which really began to take effect in 1971 when we were allowed to print money for the rest of the world. It understands that this system here is causing the rich to get richer and the poor and middle class to get poor. But most importantly, the lower middle class is almost getting wiped out. High prices, volatilities in the market, food getting more expensive, gas getting more expensive, savings getting wiped out, home values going around. And the reason the troubles have started again is the US Federal Reserve Bank is not US, is not federal, and does not have any reserve, and is not a bank. So if you understand that, then you can start to hedge your position rather than save money, and that's a new rule of money. This is why banks are the worst place for your money. Get your money out of the banking system. Now. Welcome to the Atlantis Report. Leaving all your money in a bank account, that is terrible advice. I'm going to explain to you guys why putting all of your money in the bank is a guaranteed way to lose money because of inflation. So first of all, what exactly is inflation? The definition of inflation is a general increase in prices and fall in the purchasing value of money over time. So over time, your money is worthless as far as buying power. A perfect example, let's look at the cost of bread in 1930 compared to the cost of bread today. So in 1930, you paid 9 cents for a loaf of bread, while today, on average, you're paying $2.50 for that same loaf of bread. So the purchasing value of your money decreased significantly from 1930 to 2019. I want you to understand. Your parents are not intentionally giving you bad advice by telling you to save money in the bank account. They are just confused because this is a strategy that worked for them. Because in the 1980s, things were very different. I'm going to explain why that is right now. So this is not necessarily bad advice for the 1980s. It worked for them, but it's not gonna work for you. So for this example, we are talking about a CD or a certificate of deposit. Essentially, you deposit your money, you're not able to touch it for a certain number of years, and as a result, you earn a guaranteed rate of return. In 1984, the average yield on a 5-year CD, where you deposit your money for 5 years, and you can't touch that money, was 12.06% per year. In 2016, the average return on a 5-year certificate of deposit was 0.86%. From 1984 to 1988, the average rate of inflation was 3.5%. And since 2000, the average rate of inflation has been 2.2%. So let's go ahead and do the math on this. If you had $100,000 at the end of 1983, by 1988, due to the inflation, that $100,000 would have the equivalent buying power of $118,769. Now let's say you took that $100,000 and invested it in a 5-year CD at the beginning of 1984. $100,000 would have been worth $176,707 5 years later. So for that 5-year CD, you made $76,707, but you outpaced inflation by $57,938. That is why your parents give you this advice. Because it worked for them, but it's not gonna work for you. I'm gonna show you why. $100,000 in 2016, based on that 2.2% average rate of inflation since 2000, is the equivalent buying power of roughly $111,495 in the year 2021. Now, if you invest in one of those CDs with a 0.86% return, $100,000 in 2016 will be $104,375 in 2021. Inflation outpaced you by $7,120. But let's say you didn't even put your money in a CD, because most people don't. What most people do is they leave their money in a checking or a savings account. The average return on a checking account is 0.05%. So $100,000 in 2016 at 0.05% per year would be $100,250 by 2021. So while it appears that you made $250, you actually lost $11,245 because inflation outpaced you. I have news for you. The 1980s are over. Anyways, how can you outpace inflation? How can you avoid losing the buying power of your money? The answer is to invest. So I just wanna show you one way that you could invest, and this is a very conservative way. So the S&P 500 is a good way to track the average returns of the stock.
So I'm going to stop it there. I think that kind of shocked a lot of people as to what we're doing when we were putting our money in the banks. And like you said, back in 1980s, it worked. Our parents are telling us this is the way to go. But today, it definitely does not work. So I'm going to talk about the cash flow quadrant and the different types of people and the way that we produce our income. Okay, there are 4 ways. That's why they call it the quadrant. E, that's the employee quadrant in the upper left-hand corner. You have a JOB, or just over broke. You have no leverage, and 5% of you are even participating in wealth in the world. Okay, so the amount of active work determines your income. Get sick. Your boss gives you 2 weeks off, 10 days, whatever. Don't be sick on the 12th day because you won't get paid. You're exchanging your time for money, which is not what we want to do. That is not how you're going to create legacy wealth. Number 2, look at the S quadrant. That is the self-employed. And I remember starting up my first small business. We're all happy. I've got my own business. But what you actually have, now you own a job. And so you still have no leverage. 95% of the population is actually there. I'm telling you guys, when we look at the left quadrant of the E and the S, the employee and the self-employed, we will see that we have been trained or conditioned to be employees. Being an employee or self-employed makes for about 95% of the population. And it creates a huge dependency on the system. Okay, so even here as a self-employed, you have no time. You have no employees. You've got to be your accountant. You've got to be your bookkeeper. You've got to be your advertiser. You've got to be your graphic designer, because remember, you just started and you're broke, right? You're trying to build this thing and get it off the ground. You're going to the banks. You're getting loans. But when it's a rainy day, go try to get a loan from them. This is no, your old loan is due and we're not giving you any more. Well, isn't that what they should be doing when it's a rainy day? Now let's go on the good side, right? See, I would rather, and this is what J. Paul Getty said, I would rather earn 1% off of 100 people than 100% on my own efforts. Make sense, right? And so you look on the right-hand side, this third quadrant is the business owner. And what advantage do they have? They have leverage. The employee and the self-employed have no leverage, but the business owner has leverage. They own a system. Think McDonald's. McDonald's has a system, cookie cutter. You want to buy a franchise? Boom, here's what you do. Here's the standard operating procedures. Here's our brand. Here's our color system. Here's our golden arches, right? You've got to do it that way. And this is how they have people working with them and for them, and they're making gobs of money, becoming multi-billionaires because they created a system that's able to be duplicated amongst other people very, very easy. And here, the business owner's income does not depend on active work by him. He's on a yacht, right? He's on a jet. See, this is where you like to be. But in all cases, I think I'm going to disagree with some of these guys like, Kiyosaki. We all have our own opinions. You can be an employee and strive to become an investor. So instead of buying a hair weave as an employee, you take that hair weave money, right? And then you're going to invest in something. I'm going to show you some investment instruments that have been proven to be successful, and it's not your traditional ones. So our goal is to become an investor. Where we own investments, that means we have high leverage, high liquidity as well. 5% of the population is in this bucket, guys. The income here does not depend on active work. As a matter of fact, you could be asleep and still making money. You could be traveling, spending money, and come back, you've got more than what you've spent, right? This is where your money works for you versus the business owner. People work for the business, but both of them are good things. So we want to get out of here, and many of us are in this boat, right? So I'm not trashing on you. I just want to open your eyes to say there is a way out, and there is a way you can do this by sacrificing, right? I don't call it sacrificing, but those instant gratification things we do with our money, and stop negative stinking thinking and start acting and being around people who have your best interest in mind, who are also doing things for themselves, because that stuff rubs off, okay? So now let's talk about the type of investment. Nope, I'm not going to talk about stocks. Why not? Stocks is like a crapshoot as well. People think they invest in stock and everything's going to be all fine and dandy. I remember when Facebook came out, and I think the stock came out at about $20, $25, and quickly went down. But if you want stocks, you got to have a lot of life ahead of you. I'm 59, so if you're my age, I'm not investing 10, 20 years in a stock, right? So when I die, I'm going to what, right? So I decided to pick what the millennials are actually doing and what I'm doing as well. The first one is real estate. I don't care if there's a recession, real estate starts busting, hold on to your real estate. It never fails. It comes back. And it comes back bigger and stronger. You want land, you want real estate, you want commercial properties, you want laundromats, you want that type of real estate, right? You want homes, single family homes as well. Now, let's talk about the foreign exchange market. The foreign exchange market, many of you have already involved with it and didn't even know it. How? When you go to, let's say you've traveled from the United States to Great Britain, and you have to exchange your money because they don't take US dollar. You have to exchange your money at the airport. You give them United States dollars, right? And they give you Great Britain pound. Now you can go party and do whatever it is you're going to do in London, right? But when you come back home, what happens? You've got all this Great Britain pound that you can't spend it. So you go back to the airport when you get off the airport, right? And you exchange it. And the price of that Great Britain pound could have decreased or increased compared to the United States dollar. That's the foreign exchange, guys. Except for you're not traders and you're not investing in it, but you've actually been involved in it. Go to Jamaica. You know, a lot of the places I travel to, you guys know I travel a lot, they don't take US dollars like they used to. It used to be, I want your US dollars. Now they say no. I'm like, are you kidding me? So the exchange rate is a critical determinant of who wants what type of currency and what you're going to be holding. And the third one I'm going to focus on is cryptocurrency. Many of you probably haven't heard of cryptocurrency, but Bitcoin is the largest market capitalized cryptocurrency that's on the market. So I'm going to talk about all three types of those investments and give you some history behind them as well. So with real estate investing, there are really four ways that real estate investors make money. One, real estate appreciation. You buy and hold. You buy something for $50,000 and you hold it for quite some time. It gets up to 60,000, 70,000, 80,000, 100,000. That's going to take time, right? So that's okay. Cash flow income. I'm going to talk about real estate related income and the ancillary real estate investment income. So for example, I already talked about the appreciation. That's the easy one. But it is a tricky game because let's say you buy something for $50,000 and that neighborhood goes crap. We've seen the transition of some neighborhoods and now it's worth $20,000. So you got to be able to choose wisely. And we don't have enough time to get into a lot of that detail. Cash flow income. This is when you buy a real estate property, like an apartment building, and you start operating it, right? And you're collecting rent, right? You got a stream of cash coming from rent, and that's the money the tenant is going to pay you to use their property. It could be commercial or it could be residential. Okay, you can actually generate cash flow income from storage units, car washes, apartment buildings, office buildings, rental houses, laundromats, and on and on and on. See, we tend to forget about that. Those are constant cash flow income, residual income, where you don't even have to be there and they operate on their own, quite frankly. Let's talk about the other two ways. Real estate related income. So you've got these specialists in the field, like brokers, title companies, all of these guys, they make commissions from buying and selling a property, or real estate management companies get a percentage of the rents and all of that. I don't recommend being a broker, because brokers are going by the wayside. We are able to buy our own house without the use of brokers today. And as a matter of fact, it's going to be even more widespread, where if you are a middle person, I just want to let you know, prepare for the elimination of the middleman. And I'll talk a bit more about that when I talk about cryptocurrency, okay? And they've got hotel management companies. Let's say you're a hotel management company, you're a business, right? You get to keep like 5% of a hotel sale just because you're taking care of all of their day-to-day operations, like hiring the maids and running the front desk, mowing the lawn, washing the towels, all of those type of things. And then the ancillary real estate investment income. This is awesome. It could be a huge source of profit. And what I mean by that is like vending machines in office buildings. You don't even have to be there. That vending machine is always working, and the guy come and put some potato chips and some soda in there, you're making money. Many of you guys, you probably haven't been paying attention. Many stores have Bitcoin ATM machines. You haven't noticed because they look just like a typical ATM machine, but watch it now since I mentioned it. You're going to say, oh, that's what that lady, that Queen Wiki lady was talking about. You go to some of the convenience stores, you go to some of the 7-Elevens, you're going to see these Bitcoin machines. Some people think that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is just a little bitty thing, right? Oh, it won't last. I'm going to tell you the story about that, right? Now, so you can have all of these type get real estate investment income from all kinds of things you hadn't imagined. In effect, what you have is you're serving as a mini business. So you can actually own the real estate and also have all of these other income streams, vending machines, laundry facilities, etc. See, that's a lot of cash flow there. So there are many ways of real estate investing, and I'm not going to get into any particulars about loans and mortgages. We don't have time for that, but I'm quite sure we can have some time for that later on in another one of these meetings and webinars. Now, let's talk about the foreign exchange market, where I talked about where you're exchanging the United States dollar for a Great Britain pound, for example, or United States dollar for the Swiss franc, or maybe the Great Britain pound for the Nigerian naira. I mean, it goes on and on and on. This is the largest market in the freaking world, guys. And I'm going to show you what I mean. It is amazing. And I'm not going to get into a lot of detail.
The foreign exchange market, or Forex for short, is a global, decentralized, over-the-counter market for the trading of currencies. This market determines foreign exchange rates for every currency. It includes all aspects of buying, selling, and exchanging currencies at current or determined prices. You have probably already participated in the Forex market. If you've ever traveled to another country, you would have exchanged some of your own country's currency for the currency of the country you're going to visit. If you didn't spend all your exchanged currency and deposited it into your bank account when you returned home, and that currency went up in value during your vacation, you would have received more of your home currency for your exchange currency when you deposited your excess foreign currency into your bank. This is also how you make money in the global Forex market. There are plenty of ways to invest your money. Lots of people purchase stocks or bonds. The Forex market has several advantages over the stock and bond market. Stock and bond markets frequently have bull periods and bear periods. A bull period is identified when just about everything in the market is going up. A bear period is identified when just about everything in the market is going down. While it's easy to make money in a bull market, it's much harder for a trader to make money in a bear market when prices are falling day after day. In Forex, there never really is a bear market or a bull market, since each trade consists of buying one currency while selling another. The market never really goes up or down as a whole. One currency going down naturally means the other counter currency is going up. All that matters is the currency you're interested in is either going up or down. Secondly, the Forex market in general is a level playing field. There are no mergers or acquisitions or inside trading to make the market move unexpectedly. The Forex market is the biggest market in the world, with over $5 trillion a day traded. So no one entity is ever big enough to control a market of that size. The market trades 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's 124 hours of continuous trading time available to you. You can start trading at 9 a.m. Monday morning in Sydney, Australia, and wrap up your trading on Friday at 5 p.m. in New York. So the market is ready and waiting for you anytime you want to trade. And because the market is so big, odds are you'll never be stuck in a trade. If you want to get out of a position, you can almost always find someone to buy or sell with. Trades are executed within seconds. Central banks and the global banking industry, governments, financial institutions, multinational corporations, and about 90 million home-based retail trading enthusiasts all trade in the global Forex market.
Yes, absolutely. And so the point here is, there are many ways where you can invest. In the foreign exchange market, I tell you, it is a really great way to do it. But of course, you don't want to get in there without any education because you would get wrecked. And so we're going to talk more about that when we talk about multiple streams of income tomorrow. Is that tomorrow or Friday? Friday. Okay. So we'll talk more about that. And as he said, why the Forex market is the largest, most liquid financial market in the world. When you put your money in a bank account, guess what they do? They give you 1% a year, right? Even though it's less, they give you 1%. They take all of our money, combine it, and they trade on the foreign exchange market. They make thousands of percent. And then when you try to get your money out of the bank, they got the nerve to complain, right? And then also at the end of the year, you get your great 1% that you got to pay taxes on, which is probably 10 cents. I tell you guys, you got to open your eyes to this. Every day, like he said, over $5 trillion. That's a lot of money, right? Every day is traded. It's historically proven to be recession-proof. I don't care what recession we've had. This has never affected the foreign exchange market, right? You can leverage your capital. You can maximize your gains. And I'm going to be talking Friday about one company where they're going to teach you what foreign exchange is, what the Forex market is. At the same time, you're going to be allowed to earn without trading yourself, by capitalizing on some of the pros and experts that are out there. Okay, trade it 24 hours. See, that's a great one, right? And I know some of you guys are curious, and some of you are going to be running to Google. That's what we want you to do. We want you to be prepared for Friday, because it is going to be truly amazing. Now, when you hear Bitcoin, a lot of people don't understand it. They don't understand it, so it's a scam. Let me give you a story. Back in 2009, I was in network marketing back then as well. 2009, people knew I was a great networker. They said, Faith, if you join my team, I'm going to give you some Bitcoin. Bitcoin was free. It was free. So back there, I was kind of pompous, right? Don't want to listen to nobody. I know everything. And you know what I told them? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I told them it was the dumbest. I said, how is this Bitcoin thing? It's not even a coin, doesn't even exist. It's some bits and bytes and some computer. And you're going to, oh, get out of here. You know what? Today, I'm kicking myself. Well, I'm no longer kicking myself. I got over it. That was 2009. It was free or 1 cent. And I'm going to show you its prices. And I'm like, yeah. When I got involved in Bitcoin, I got involved at $500. And this is how I felt. I was fearful. I said, wow, it was 1 cent. And it's like $500. This was 2014, something like that. And I'm like, $500. It's probably at the top. I bet you it's at the top of the market. I said, well, I'm going to do it anyway. So I went on and done it anyway, right? Very, very happy that I did it. And I'm going to give you a background on Bitcoin. It's about a 2-minute video. And I want you to hear about this. It's truly amazing.
In recent years, the popularity of Bitcoin has surged forward, with governments, financial companies, and even credit cards partnering with Bitcoin-based companies. The global addition of digital money is gaining popularity and momentum. As regulators continue to integrate Bitcoin platforms, more traditional finance and investment companies such as Goldman Sachs and Fidelity are also getting involved. If you are new to Bitcoin yourself, acquiring a basic understanding of the benefits of Bitcoin would be a wise thing to learn. Here are a few key benefits that have captured the imagination of the financial marketplace and the general public alike. Bitcoin first became available to own and trade in 2009, which was not long after the global housing crisis hit during the fourth quarter of 2008. As a digital asset, Bitcoins are created through a process called mining. Their design allows for only a fixed number of Bitcoin to ever be created, so they will never devalue in the same way that paper money or fiat currency devalues from overprinting. This limited supply has created a meteoric rise in BTC value over the past decade, with 2009 prices for 1 BTC at 1 US cent and peaking at a high so far of just under 20,000 US dollars. This projected supply and demand gives Bitcoin a high store value. Many believe it has surpassed gold as a store value asset. The future seems limitless, with a flood of tech companies allowing more convenient ways to access and utilize Bitcoin. Highly respected economists and financial experts believe that Bitcoin prices will continue to rise, ultimately eclipsing 100,000 US dollars and more for just 1 Bitcoin. The Forex market is also connected to Bitcoin, as highly respected Forex brokers around the world now allow Forex traders to fund their Forex accounts with Bitcoin.
So I tell you guys, now let me tell you a story now. Let me go to the next slide. So let me tell you a story. Wait,
in recent years,
back in 2009, of course, I wimped out, thought I knew everything, didn't want to listen to anyone, didn't even look at whether it was a viable, didn't even look at it. So ever since 2009, someone present anything to me, I look at it. I may tear it apart, but I look at it. So when I say no, I know what I'm saying no to. Something I wrote on my Facebook profile yesterday was, I kill projects. I kill businesses. Bring them to me. I kill at least 3 a day. And if I can't kill it, I'm in it. If I can't kill it, I'm going in it. And so I'm going to give you a general idea. Let's look at April 28th, 2013. We were at about, let me move this baby over. We were at about, let's see, I think we were probably about $400, $500 or so. And if you look at the price, which is the gold, you see how it shot up in 2013 and shot down in 2014. So it's rather volatile. But I don't know if you guys remember, those of you from the church, if you remember, I took my mother on a 10-day vacation to South Africa. That is when, remember I bought my Bitcoin at $500. Now, everybody started seeing it going up. Now the media is talking about it, and I told everybody, don't buy. Don't buy at $15,000. It was up at 15. They were buying at 16,000 and 17 and 20,000. I said, it's going to go down, guys. This is not the time to buy. You buy low. People buying it. The fury's on, all the frenzy, right? I went and sold some of my Bitcoin. I went and took my mother on vacation. We had a grand time. I came back and people were sick because it fell from $20,000 all the way down to $3,000. So that was 2017 to 2017 to 2018. And so people ask me, Queen, should I sell? Should I sell? I said, no, you shouldn't have bought, first of all, but don't sell. HODL, we call it HODL, hanging on for dear life. HODL, baby, HODL. And some of them says, well, it's at 6,000 now. I got to sell. I said, why? Well, I'm going to cut my losses. Remember when I talked about the difference between the financially wealthy attitude and mindset and the poor and middle class mindset, where they're always talking about cutting their losses over here. Cutting your losses. That is not what they think about over on the financially wealthy side. They said, we're going to win. So we're going to ride this out. We're going to ride this wave. That baby went all the way down to 3,000. I'm whistling. Doo, 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 doo. People panicking. It went 4,000. 5,000, 6,000. It started hovering around 6,000. I said, oh my God, it's too stable. Where's the volatility? Then it went up to 8,000, right? Then it went all the way back down to 4,000. It's just playing games, whatever. I'm not watching it. Don't watch it. You know, with the advent of the internet, you're always watching it because everybody go to CoinMarketCap every 10 minutes. Well, with your 401k plan, you never even looked at it for 10 or 20 years. You didn't look at it until you got time to buy a house or to retire or get a loan from it so you can pay for some college education for your children. But now with the internet, we have full access to all of the markets. That's why we get wrecked. We get nervous. We get fearful. We don't like volatility. Well, you shouldn't be in this market or any other market because if you would have saw your 401k plan, that baby was all over the place, but you didn't watch it. So you didn't get heart attacks and ulcers, right? So now what we've had is in the last few months or so, $6,000 to $7,000 Bitcoin was steady at, right? And then it went down to 6,000, 7,000. Just recently, you should see that baby climbing, man. 7,000, 7,200, 7,500. When they got some more, 7,500, 8,000. I'm like, what's going on? Well, should I, shouldn't I? Now I'm gonna sit still. 8,000, 8,500, 9,000. What is it today? Let me tell you. It's crazy. And when I tell people to get in, because I'm going to tell you why it's going to be poised to increase in value. And it's going to make sense to you now, because we talked about how the central bankers and the government are all printing, the Federal Reserve are printing money backed by nothing. Right? So there's an unlimited supply of dollars, and they're going to keep printing it and printing it and printing it. But with Bitcoin, you can only have 21 million. So what does that mean? When there's scarcity, like the fur coats people wear or the diamonds, when there's scarcity, what happens? Price go up. And so right now there's 18 million Bitcoins. And let me tell you, Bitcoin isn't something tangible. It's not tangible. You can't touch it. You can't smell it. You can't taste it. Right? And I'm not going to go into all of those particulars, and I will at another time when I do something strictly on Bitcoin, but it is a valid currency. As a matter of fact, I have a debit card from a company called BitPay where I can convert my Bitcoins right in the back office of this mobile app into fiat money. Fiat money means United States dollar, Great Britain pound, all the regular paper dollars or whatever. I can convert it and go shopping. I can shop online. I can go to an ATM machine and pull out my cash if I want to do that conversion. Okay. I tell you, it's crazy. You can go to Amazon. You can go to eBay. You can, as a matter of fact, Virgin Airlines, owned by Branson, right? This guy's a multi-billionaire. He owns Virgin Airlines. You could pick up the phone, book a flight with Bitcoins. With Bitcoins, guys, you can give your friends and family and loved ones. I gave my daughter, I remember a couple of years back, I said, here's $800 worth of Bitcoin. Don't touch it, just keep it in your wallet. And she said, Mom, it's going down. I said, just don't touch it, keep it in your wallet. She hasn't touched it. I don't know if she even looked at it now. I hope she still have her private key. But in any case, I'm gonna go look very quickly at the price of Bitcoin. All this stuff is at the tip of our fingers now. Everything is so easy. Okay, let's see here. It is, let's see here. $8,959.83. And remember, you remember when you got involved, Brenda, in Bitcoin? You can unmute. Remember when you got involved in Bitcoin? What was it around? Yeah, unmute. Yes.
It was around 6,000. Yes.
It was around 6, and we're not talking about a year ago, are we, Brenda?
No, that was in December 17th to be exact.
So now we're bored, and we had already gone up over 9,000. And I tell you, this baby's getting ready to go up. Now we've already mined, and never mind what all of that means, 18 million Bitcoins. So that means there are actually less than 3 million Bitcoins left to be mined on this planet. And I tell people, you don't have to buy the whole thing. You don't need $9,000. You can buy $10 worth. You people who are in that quadrant, the employee quadrant, or in the small business quadrant, the S quadrant, self-employed, buy $20 a week, buy $100 a month, buy it to put into a Bitcoin. Shoot, that's less than a couple of cups of coffee anyway at Starbucks, And so get yourself some Bitcoin. I'm not playing, but I know how to navigate it and figure out how do we get it. That's a whole nother story, but we'll help you guys later on that. But yes, I tell you, it's been lucrative, baby. And it's going to continue to be lucrative. And imagine now, the pundits are saying it can get to $50,000, $100,000. I mean, for one Bitcoin. Shucks. See, so now that you guys know that, I didn't tell you anything about saving any money. Doesn't work these days, but investing is the key to your financial legacy. With that said, I'm going to stop my share and throw it over the bucket to Shamika and Brenda. Stop my share. Okay, guys.
Okay, there was a question. I'm not sure if you saw the question there, Queen Wiki. The question was about fast cash. Let's see what that chat was. Elder, can you see that? Because I'm trying to hold this phone. I didn't have it positioned correctly.
When you were speaking about the Bitcoin, the question is this fast money? Because you mentioned not buying stocks.
Yes, the reason why I mentioned not buying stocks, you can buy stocks, but at my age, at 59, I'm not getting into any new stock. Let's say if you're 20 or 30 years old and you see a viable company. Now, there's different types of stocks and different types of risk factor. High-tech stocks tend to be more riskier, but they're also much more lucrative over time. So I'm not nullifying stocks altogether, not by a long shot. Now, in terms of whether Bitcoin is fast money, anything could be fast money if you're an experienced trader, but you've got to be educated there. Now with Bitcoin, you don't know if that baby gonna sink on you or is it going to go up on you. So there's risk involved in all types of investments, okay? But you can't buy Bitcoin like today for $9,000 and think that you're going to wake up tomorrow and automatically think it's going to be $10,000. It could be $8,000. As a matter of fact, it could be $7,000 to $10,000 in one day. And so with cryptocurrency, I do two things. I have a stack of them for spending. I use it, spend it, do ATM withdrawals. I will go to my favorite sushi restaurant. I will use my mobile wallet. I've got a mobile wallet on here. It's a Bitcoin wallet. I swipe it. I get my sushi and plum wine really fresh. You know, you want to travel and all kinds of things. That's my discretionary funds. Then I've got a portfolio. I call it my HODL or HUDL portfolio, hanging on for dear life. That is my long-term investment. Because I believe in the long term, Bitcoin is definitely going to blow. It's blowing up gold. It's kicking gold's butt, you know. So it's going to be around for a while. So you got to get a piece of it. But there's no such thing as fast money. Because if somebody talks about fast money, there's something that's got to be sacrificed. There's got to be some risk involved. And so things that are out there as fast money is high risk. It's going to be extremely high risk. So you need to determine what your risk factors are and never invest more than you're willing to lose. Never invest more than you're willing to lose. Even though I go in with a winning attitude, I'm saying, I'm going to put $30,000 in this deal. What if it goes bust? Will I feel all right losing $30,000? I better feel all right losing it. So you don't want to do that. It is better to put in a little bit. It's better to learn first. That's the piece, education and learning and be around people who are doing it. And that's what we're going to do in one of the streams of incomes that we're in. We're going to talk about Friday, where we're letting these professional traders, Forex traders, trade for us because we're too emotional. We're going to get wrecked. We're going straight, and we've got a plan. And then what we do, we veer off course because of something we heard or because we're having a bad day. Real professional traders, they keep on track. They lose, their face look like this. They win, their face look like this. And in both instances, the great professional traders, they go to bed. They're not like gamblers over at the casino. And what those guys do is, I'm going to stay at this casino all night because I'm going to get what I lost. And they never do. You get wrecked. That's not what real pro traders do. But that's what some retail traders do, like you and I. They do that and they lose all their money and they keep chasing it and chasing it. So we're going to get into all that at a later time. But no, it's not quick money, but it could be. But it could be.
You have another question. Is it best to have a financial advisor then?
It depends on your financial advisor. Interview them. Here's a good example. Let's say you want to get an accountant to do your taxes and you want to talk to them about cryptocurrency. Most accountants won't even talk to you. They don't even know it. So you've got to search for an accountant who knows about cryptocurrency or Bitcoin if you want advice. If they're always talking about stocks, bonds, mutual funds, 401k plan, they're missing the whole world. They've got to be able to offer you all of the instruments that are out there and give you the pros and cons of each and every one of them. So you need to interview them. You know, what do you recommend? What's in the portfolio? What do you think I should have in my portfolio? And if they say nothing about cryptocurrency, and if they say nothing about foreign exchange, I think that you probably need to keep interviewing.
Okay. What do you think about those places? I think it's like Schwab and, you know, places like that. What do you think about those type of places?
Definitely old school, but check this out. When you look at Schwab and the TD Ameritrade and you look at the E-Trades, those guys definitely old school. They've got a whole history behind them. It's all about stocks because they make money on your spread. And they make money on the rollover. So the more money you still have in a trade or even in your account, you're going to get charged. They make a whole bunch of money, billions of dollars on that. Now, guess what? Schwab, JP Morgan, with Jamie Dimon as the CEO, he said back in 2016, that Bitcoin was a scam. And I told people, don't listen to him. But people do because he's an influencer. I said, he's manipulating the market. Okay, 2017, actually it was 2017 he said it was a scam. 2018 he says, I regret what I said. Oh, you know you were wrong, manipulating the market. 2019, his company has blockchain technology. They already had a Bitcoin trading desk. When he was saying this crap, his employees told him STFU in Twitter. Right? You know what STFU means. They told him STFU, shut the F up, right? In Twitter, because he says that everybody's going to get fired if I find anybody dealing with cryptocurrency or Bitcoin. But they had a Bitcoin desk. He's just manipulating the market. Then in 2019, he came out with, guess what? JP Morgan coin. See, you got to watch these guys, man. They're in the background trying to figure out how they can move the market. As a matter of fact, the Chicago Board of Exchange, CBOE, CBOT, all of those guys back when Bitcoin went up to $20,000 in 2017, those guys started these futures. Futures means, this is what a future is. You don't have to buy the asset. You don't have to buy Bitcoin. You don't have to buy the house. You don't have to buy the hogs, you know, those futures or whatever. You don't have to buy them. You just bet on them. I bet it'll go up. I bet it'll go down. You don't even have to buy them. And they make money on that bet. That's what a future is. And man, that's when the price was going up and people getting all happy. I said, I don't know why you guys happy that they're involved. We don't want them involved in our stuff. This is ours, the people. They got involved, shot it up to 20,000, and it went straight down to 6,000. I said, I told you, they're shorting it. And what shorting means is, I bet you it goes down. When you've got a bunch of billionaires betting it'll go down, it's going to freaking go down. These guys are the master manipulators, man. Cryptocurrency people ain't got nothing on them. But they have their place in this whole scheme of things too. Yeah. We got another question here. If the fast money, could you mention also it's best to have a financial advisor? Good, thank you. Okay, great. Okay. Super.
Those are all the questions.
Yes,
Any
those.
Facebook questions? Any Facebook
That's what
questions?
I'm checking now.
I didn't have any on my stream here. I lost it and it came back in. I didn't have any questions here.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I think that was all of the questions. But I did have a question about real estate you mentioned.
Yes.
And you mentioned like some different ones that I hadn't thought about, like laundromats and all of those type of things. How do you get involved in that?
Yeah, they're commercial properties, and you can find that for sale anywhere. Shucks, you can go on, you can Google it. Everything's accessible now. You don't have to go to the newspaper. Look for laundromat for sale, storefront for sale. As a matter of fact, you don't need to have a laundromat per se, but it's great if you want a laundromat because they got all the plumbing set up for you and all of that. But you can just buy some commercial property, inexpensive commercial property. Of course, make sure you get it audited and inspected to make sure it doesn't fall apart on you after you buy it. And then you could put in your machines. They've already got the hookups and everything, just like a storefront, candy store, or a hair salon, for example. And that's another thing about with a hair salon. There's a difference between you just opening up a hair salon and being the only beautician in there, because now you're just self-employed. But when you put in multiple stations and you rent those out to other women and men, and then they pay you rent, now you got another stream of income.
Right.
Now you got another stream. So that's the way we need to start thinking. Let's create some legacy wealth here.
I like that, creating legacy wealth.
Yes, yes.
Awesome, awesome. Is that all the questions we have? I didn't have any. I learned a whole lot. That's a great teacher. This is my mentor that I'm following.
Thank you very much. You challenged me as well. I tell you, she's one of the fastest learner. I tell you, she come up with some stuff. I'm like, where did you learn that? Where did you learn that? I've been reading, I've been researching, I've been watching videos. She's amazing. She's amazing.
Gotta know it. I got to know it. I'm excited to hear Mayoris Green on tomorrow. Right, she will be teaching on retirement. That's going to be an awesome session. And
Super.
Then Queen Wiki will be back with us on Friday to teach us about streams of income. So we're excited about that. We want to thank everyone for joining us. We'll have our prayers 6:30 a.m. in the morning, 15 minutes to 6:45. Elder Shamika did an awesome job, and she will be praying the rest of the week. So you all join us for that as well. You can check your emails. And you can get a link to come straight in, and that way we don't have to stream, but we'll still stream anyway. And then we'll be back again on tomorrow night from 7 to 8 as well. Any closing remarks, Queen Wiki?
Oh, none at all. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in a couple of days. It's a couple of days. I lose track of time. I don't wear a watch. That's what wealthy people do. I'm just making some silly jokes. But yes, it was such a pleasure. And I like sharing my knowledge. Thank you, everyone, for showing up.
Oh, absolutely. They said great information about investment opportunities. That was from Miss Denise Rucker. So we had some good ones up here saying they were glad to be able to receive the information. It was good. Somebody said she really knows her stuff. So it's awesome. Elder Shamika, you want to close this out? I'm going to put in my little music here. Are you going to go forth?
Unmute, Shamika. Okay.
Okay. God bless everyone. Thank you so much, Queen Wiki, for teaching us on this evening. It was just amazing, amazing, and amazing. We're looking forward to Mayoris Green, who is a CPA, and she's going to be teaching us tomorrow on retirement funds. So please, please, please make sure you're here and ready to learn. Let's look to the Lord. Father, how we love you. We appreciate you for being God and God all by yourself. You're excellent and powerful and wonderful in all of your ways. And we just appreciate you for being our God, for being our provider, and for giving us the spirit of the children of Issachar. That means they were wise enough to know the times and the seasons and what to do when. So, Father, we thank you for teaching us about wealth and teaching us how to get what you have for us. In Jesus' name we pray and we thank you. Amen.